Oh boy. Okay, so for starters, my nails are breaking, but it's whatever. Okay, so for starters, hey you guys, it's Lindsay back again. Yes, I am saying that. Yesterday I was in a very bad mood, and I actually thought about ending my YouTube career, and I thought about deleting my channel and deleting all the videos that are on my channel. But I knew that if I would have done that, I would have not only literally pushed everyone away, and I would have deleted my channel and everything, especially all the videos that were on it. But as you guys know, all the videos that I make are memories, and sometimes they're bad memories and sometimes that they're good memories, but either way, Mal, shut up! He does this every single day. Okay. Mal! Mal, stop! You got fed! Mom just left! Okay, where was I? Mal, stop! Where was I? So you guys know that, like, all the videos that I make are memories of some kind, whether they're good memories or bad memories, they're all memories, and they're mistakes, and there are things, and I learned those things as I progressed and as I grew up. And even though I'm 15, you know, I'm still growing, and I'm still growing up, and I'm still probably gonna do YouTube as I'm growing up. That's not gonna change. I don't know if you guys can tell or not, but I don't have the same bedding. For Christmas, I got new bedding. So I have a whole entire different setup of a bed, except I still have the green blanket because this is one of my favorite blankets. But anyway, I'm still talking with the lisp, but I'm still getting used to these retainers. Either way, basically all the videos that I make on here are memories of some kind. I can't speak! All the videos that I make on here are memories of some kind, whether it's bad memories or good memories. They're all memories, and they're all mistakes that I learned from. I've already said that. But as you get it. Like, YouTube, I started in, like, I'm in 9th grade now. I started when I was, I believe, my first video that I made was at my old place. Before we moved here, before we got kicked out. And the kicking out story is a whole entire fiasco on its own. Basically, we lived at our old place for 7 years. It wasn't a house. It was an apartment, just like this one. Except it wasn't anything like it at all. We had a huge amounts of space, sort of. I guess the biggest part where we had the most room was the kitchen and the living room. My bedroom at the old place was about as big as this. My mom's bedroom at our old place, I think, was maybe a little bit bigger. Maybe it's the same size as her room, I'm not for sure. The bathroom was a lot bigger, definitely, at our old place. But I guess the thing that kind of sucked about, like, our old place was that, well, there are pros and there are cons. Like at our old place, in the bathroom, at our old apartment, where we used to live, we lived there for 7 years. We've been living here now we moved in when I was in 6th grade, so 6, 7, 8, 9, about, we're almost to the 4, I think we're almost to the 4-year mark, pretty sure. But either way, we used to live not far from here, actually. We moved here because we had gotten kicked out from our other place. Basically what happened, to sum it up, was, the landlord that we had when we first moved in, decided to rent out the whole entire complex to a whole entire new owner without telling us anything that was going on. And like I said, there were pros and cons. Like, for example, one of the cons were that it was nice being downstairs, but the thing is that it was only 4 complexes. It was only 4 apartments. So there were 2 upstairs and 2 downstairs. And they were all different. Well, they weren't all different layouts, I guess, but they were made with different, like, materials and stuff. Like, one had, I don't know how to explain it. They had different, like, floorings and stuff. But, like, with the downstairs, being that we weren't exactly downstairs, basically, the apartment that we were living in was built, like, not exactly underground, but it was an underground level, I guess you could say. Like, it wasn't built, like, straight up. It was built underneath, like, the ground. If that makes any sense at all. It probably doesn't, but we were at a below ground level, so we were constantly getting insects, bugs, spiders, and since we had woods, like, in the backyard and stuff, because we had a sliding door and a patio screen and stuff, that's how we found Mao. That's how Mao became ours. You know, a lot of critters would come out. There was once a doe that came out of the woods, and it was just staring at us through our patio. But, like, one of the cons was that the laundry room wasn't, like, inside, because there was no downstairs, like, basement or anything. There was no basement. It was outside, so everyone that lived in the 4 complexes would have to go downstairs, not downstairs, but, like, outside, walk down a walkway, unless you lived, like, on the below level, but if you lived on the up level, you'd have to walk down your stairs, and then you'd have to go outside, and then you'd have to walk around this whole entire trail, and then the laundry room would be outside next to the 2 complexes that were downstairs. And it was really scary, especially at night. And the thing was about our apartment complex was we were number 4, and for us being number 4, we all had different sheds, obviously. We all had our own shed, but it was in the backyard. So when we would go out, there would be one right here, which was number 1, 2, 3 on the side, and then 4 was, of course, in the back by the woods, and that was our shed. So whenever I had to go out as a kid, I was freaking terrified. I didn't want to go out by myself because we were surrounded by woods, and I didn't want to be in danger, and I didn't want to get kidnapped, and I didn't want to get, like, stolen or anything, so I hated going out alone by myself. And my mom always called me a scaredy cat because I was too scared to go out there. Well, another thing that I was scared about was that one of my old friends, one of my old friends that I knew back from, he turned out to be not exactly a friend. Like, we started out as friends, and then, like, I don't know how to explain it. I'm not gonna explain it. But basically, him and his brother lived on the opposite street of us. So we were on the east, they were on the west. Me and him would hang out a lot. He'd always, like, come over and stuff. And I was, like, a first grader, so of course I didn't know, like, anything, because I was a first grader and second grader and third grader. Like, those were the years that this happened. And we lived over by a park. If you guys know that live near my area where the soccer field is, and then where the pond is, of where festivals used to be held by the school district. You know what I'm talking about. I'm not going to say the name for privacy reasons. There was a hobo, or a bum, that was living out there by the pond, and my friend went with his brother, maybe it was him by himself, I don't remember, but he rode his bike down there, and the bum or hobo or whatever was living down there came out of the woods and started chasing him, and he literally rode his bike all the way up the hill and to his house. So that happened, so I was scared to death to, like, go outside. I didn't like being in the woods at all. I was just super scared, and I didn't want to do it because I didn't feel safe, and basically the reason why I didn't feel safe is that because the backyard of where we lived belonged to a whole entire acres and acres of a dirt bike path. So the people that lived, like, behind there was a house behind there because someone lived there. My mom's friend, I think, knew them, but either way, it was an all open area, and I didn't feel safe, and it was private property. I'm pretty sure that it still is, but either way, it was a dirt bike trail that was behind the woods, but you had to go through the woods to get to the dirt bike trail, but you could see it, and you could see them, like, riding outside, and you could constantly hear, like, dirt bikes and motorcycles going around the track, or, well, the dirt path, and you could constantly hear it, and I didn't feel safe going out there alone at all. Another con that we had living at our old place was that the pipes were very, very bad. And I'm reminding you that we lived there for 7 years. I think the first few years, they were fine. But I think when the one winter that we had really bad a long time ago hit, it ended up freezing the pipes, and I think that one of the pipes broke because, like, every single day that I would be sitting in my room, I would hear this clanking of the pipes. So for the whole time that I was living there, every single night when I went to bed, or every single time that I was just, like, hanging out in my room, because I barely ever left, like, my house, because I didn't feel safe, my apartment, because I didn't feel safe, like, going outside. I didn't want to, like, go outside. Like, I wasn't an outdoor kind of person. Like, I guess at the time I was, because one of my old friends lived next door to me, and, like, me and her became best friends, but now she's in, like, 7th grade and I'm in 9th grade, so we kind of, like, grew apart. I don't know. She probably remembers me, but maybe she doesn't. I know that I said hi to her, like, last year when I was still in 8th grade, and she was in, like, 6th grade, so I said hi to her. I don't know if she remembers me or not, but anyway. Living there, I think I already... Yeah, so basically every single night that I was, like, trying to sleep, I would just hear this clanking and clanking and clanking of the pipes, and it was so annoying, and it didn't make me feel safe at all. I loved being there, but at the same time, I didn't feel safe being there. And then another con was that in the bathroom, it was a really nice bathroom, don't get me wrong, but we constantly had an ant infestation in the bathroom for I don't know what reason, probably because we were underground, and there was no window in the bathroom, like, at all. So, like, every single wall that you would look at, there was no window. There was the patio that was in the kitchen, there was the 2 windows that were in my mom's room, there was the 1 window that was in my room, the 2 windows out in the living room, and then, like, the entrance area. So that didn't really make me feel safe either, because, like, there would be no way out if I was to, like, get locked in the bathroom or something. It wasn't really a safe feeling. Like, I miss things about it, but there are some things that I don't miss. Like, I miss the huge mirror that we had. Like, we had great lighting in the bathroom because we had, like, 5 or 6 lights, like, up at the top. And we had, like, this huge mirror, and now here we have, like, these sliding small mirrors. I'm dying. I think my mom's home, so I gotta wrap this up. But yeah, no, there were a lot of cons, and then there was what we had as the toy room, even though that it was sort of kind of like a storage room, but we took the door off. There was, like, a crawl space underneath there, and it was a freaking super skinny room, and it was where we stored stuff. But when I was little, it became my toy room, but, like, everything was in there, and, like, there was a crawl space that was in that room, and it was deep. Like, it was a deep crawl space. Like, you could hide underneath there, or someone could be hiding underneath there, and you wouldn't even know. And, like, it freaked me out. So, there were pros and there were cons. But basically, to say the least, the place that we were living in, when the landlord gave it up, without telling us, things started going wrong. We started getting bug infestations. We had these huge-ass black spiders that were coming and crawling in onto the floor, and they were, like, yay big, and, like, no joke, and they would just be scurrying across the floor like this, and we'd be trying to kill it, and then, you know, it was horrible. And then there started becoming more problems with, like, utility, like, our garbage disposal wasn't working, our shower drain stopped working, like, it wouldn't take the water down, like, all the water would fill up, and then you'd have, like, dirty water everywhere. So, like, there was a clog in the drain, I guess. I don't know, I don't think anyone ever fixed it, so our shower was basically broken, the garbage disposal was broken, if I remember correctly, our stove was broken, and we had just gotten a new stove before we got kicked out, yeah. So a lot of things weren't working, and when the new management, management didn't come yet. The landlord that we had was chill, he was cool, but then he hired a management service, and he let the management service take over instead of doing his job. So they did the job for him, and they invited in this lady, and she was not a very nice lady, and she was a smoker, and the place was a no smoking place at the time, and it was horrible. She had 2 sons. One had a lot of health issues, mentally. He would cuss, swear, scream. He said he didn't believe in God. He would swear all the time. They had a dog at the time. And it was just a whole fiasco. And this lady was a smoker, and it was obviously like a no smoking place, and with me having asthma, that was not a good thing, and she wasn't smoking outside, she was smoking inside. So basically what ended up happening was we had a friend that was an upstairs neighbor that lived next to her, and she and us put in a complaint, and it was constantly, every single night, it would sound like a whole entire herd of elephants upstairs. Like, they would just be partying and doing whatever the hell that they wanted to. They weren't courteous at all to the neighbors. The landlord ended up moving in downstairs next to us. He ended up leaving. Like, one day, we just, like, never saw him, like, come back. Like, he just, like, up and left and, like, never returned. So I don't know what the hell happened to him, but something happened. So we put in a complaint to the landlord. He put in a complaint to the management services. Management services took it into their own hands because they're the ones that invited the lady to move in there. So our upstairs neighbor, that was our friend, was mad because they had a dog, and she was told when she moved in that she couldn't have that breed of dog, so she got mad about that. So she complained about that. So they had to end up getting rid of the dog, and it was a pit bull, if I remember correctly. Beautiful pit bull, but they ended up having to take it, I think, to a pounder rescue or something, and they got rid of it, and it never came back. The son got super pissed about it, started screaming even more. It got to the point where I couldn't handle it anymore. Her other son, I don't know what the hell he was doing, no clue. But basically, like, we complained about her smoking and how I have asthma and how it's not good for me. So they said that they would take care of it. Well, they didn't take care of it. Instead, it got only worse. The lady that was upstairs was smoking constantly, and the smoke would, like, come out from her door and, like, fill the whole entire, like, complex. And they'd go underneath our door, and I could smell the smoke through, like, the door and stuff, and we had to put a towel underneath the door so that it wouldn't come in, and it was a horrible fiasco. And then one day, we came home, and my mom got a letter in the mailbox, and it was from the management services. And my mom's friend that we became friends with, that was the upstairs neighbor, she also got the same exact letter, and when we opened it, it was basically saying, you have this many days to get out, we're kicking you out, you cannot live here anymore. I guess it was basically like an eviction notice. Like, we were getting thrown out for complaining. Even though we had lived there for 7 years, we got kicked out because the lady upstairs decided to rat us out for absolutely nothing. So my mom's friend didn't know where to go, and she had a dog. And if you guys know Nava, if you guys remember the Blue Heeler, Nava, she is actually in some of my very, very old videos. I actually have, like, a small video of her somewhere. She's a Blue Heeler. Her name's Nava. So yeah, they got kicked out, and she basically got kicked out for reporting the lady that was next to her, and we got kicked out for reporting the lady that was upstairs, the same lady that our friend had reported. So we ended up getting kicked out for reporting something that wasn't supposed to be done in the building, but literally they had no control over it. The landlord couldn't do anything. The landlord had a phone call one day, and then I remember looking out the window, and then all of a sudden the landlord left, and the landlord never showed up again. And we got kicked out, and we had to find a place super quick, and we couldn't afford a house, obviously. We had to find an apartment that accepted a cat, because we still had Mao, and we still do. Hopefully we still will. Hopefully he doesn't pass away soon, but yeah, we basically got kicked out because of that. So, yeah. It was a really tough time for me because I had grown up there. Like, when we first moved in, it was my mom and my brother and me. It was all three of us. And then, because I didn't have a room at the time because it was only a 2-bedroom apartment, so I slept with my mom in her bed sometimes. As a kid, I was a really little kid. Like, I was just going into, like, preschool. Yeah, I was just going into preschool. I skipped Young Fives. I never went to Young Fives. I went to kindergarten. And 1st grade, 2nd grade, 3rd grade, 4th grade, 5th grade. And then, hence, 5th grade happened. Over the summer, that whole fiasco happened. And then, by the time that I got into middle school, which is 6th grade, 7th grade, and 8th grade, my mom wanted to be able to move closer anyway, to like, be closer to the school than, like, farther away from it. And we had lived there for 7 years, and we were honestly getting really sick of the place, and we weren't happy because there were so many problems that we had to deal with that no one would do about. And then the lady moved upstairs and we could barely get any sleep. I was, like, you know. So basically we got kicked out. We found this place. This was the only one that accepted Section 8 housing and animals, and yeah. So yeah, we found this place and we moved here. And then yeah, so that whole fiasco happened. But the first YouTube video that I ever did make was at my old place. Actually, I think that the 2 videos of Mao that I have at like the very, very end of like my video posting, like one of my first ever videos, I'm pretty sure was Mao. I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly, I'm pretty sure that that's what it was. And you can see that, like, everything is different. Like, we had different carpets and everything. So yeah, no, that's where we used to live. And I honestly really miss it. I miss the space that there was. I miss the huge living room that we had. I miss the huge kitchen that we had. I miss all the space that we had, but like I said, there were pros and cons about it. But yeah, no, that was where I first made my ever first YouTube video, was in there. And I posted it, and yeah. That had to have been back in like 2016, I've gotta say. It had to have been, because 2017, 2016, I had to have been in 5th grade. 17, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, it had to have been somewhere near 2016 that I started making my first video. So in 2016 was the first time, or maybe it was it had to have been 2016, it had to have been that year that I started making YouTube videos. So I've been doing this for, see, I didn't make a lot of videos, because at the time I didn't know how. I was still learning, like, how and stuff, and I obviously don't know how to edit videos on a laptop like this. Like, I knew how to edit videos on an iPad, obviously, because I had that thing forever. But with me not having it anymore, because, you know, taken away, because, you know, whole situation. So yeah, that is basically story time for the day, because I don't know, Jesus Christ. Right, there you go. Okay, so basically, I know I can tell more stories about what happened at the old place. If you want me to, I can explain things that happened when we moved in here. I can explain and tell you guys story times of like what happened there and then what happened here. If you guys want to know anything about that, I can obviously tell you guys, because it's something that I'm willing to share, and it's things that I have memories about all the time. And very mysterious, not like paranormal stuff happened. I don't think that we ever had any paranormal experiences. The only thing was the clanking pipes, but that was probably because the pipes had frozen and no one fixed the pipes. There were probably so many issues in that apartment that needed to be fixed that no one would fix. Like, literally. So, yeah. If you guys want to know, like, more about, like, what happened at our old place, or, like, what happened here, there were a lot of events that happened here when we moved in that happened after we had moved out, and a lot of things had changed, and a lot of changes made, and yeah, it was just a whole journey that basically I never filmed it, and I'm happy that I didn't, because I wouldn't want that, like, out in the world and stuff. And like, the memories sometimes hurt to think about, because it was part of what happened, but sometimes it's a good thing that it happened. Like, I don't know how to explain it. I love you guys. Stay strong, stay positive, stay hardworking. accomplish dreams to make them big. Never give up. Always be yourself and live your life fullest. Peace.